Three, two, one. And welcome to the Moviebloop podcast.
Welcome.
We are finally back after
Welcome to the podcast.
3 weeks.
It's it's been longer for me, dude. It's been like 2 months for me.
For you, yeah. Anyway, I'm Michael.
I'm
Uh,
Jose.
I'm Nathaniel.
I'm Steven.
I am 3 monsters in, Brian.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds
That-
accurate.
That's what they call him. Three monsters and Bryan.
3 monsters in Brian. What I've
Anyway.
missed is just me picking up a crippling caffeine addiction. That is
Yay!
all. But The Godfather, Steven, I believe this was actually your pick. So if
Oh,
you
it
wanna,
was. Yeah. So this week we watched The Godfather for almost 3 hours of it. And yeah, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's the movie. Um
Yeah, it's kind
and
of good. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
pretty
it's,
much.
it's pretty light, you know.
I forgot. I think the first thing that I'll say is it was a lot more dense than I thought, and like long. I don't know. It felt like really long, and I was watching it, and I loved it because I've like loved this movie for a long time. But I was like, man, I really hope that you guys are watching it, and not to spoil how you felt about it. But I was like, man, I apologize to you guys. You guys were like, nah, dude, we're loving it. This is great. I was like, well, if you say so. I mean, I agree, but I'm glad you feel that way. But anyway, yeah, this is one of my favorite movies. We'll just talk if we just want to say how we feel about it, I guess, to start off with.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite movies. I love it a lot. Um, so how do you guys feel about it now? Just
Um,
anybody? Oh,
so
thanks.
I really, really liked this movie. I
Mm.
thought I wasn't going to, but
I-
I'll straight honest. Going into this, I thought I was gonna be bored.
He's always gonna be that bullshit everyone's
Yeah,
been
I
talking
like-
about. Took from the
yeah.
70s.
I literally, I don't know, because I was like, bro, it's 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
My attention span's not that long. I was like, bro, I think I'm gonna. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this, but I fucking like. It started, and I was like, bro, I'm in. Like, I fucking love this. Like, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, really good. Also,
That's
just a
awesome.
quick note. Even though
Mhm.
I said that I have to go to bed, we should not rush this.
Okay,
I just said
cool.
that to stop Brian.
Yeah.
Because
dog,
was on
he weighs like 300 pounds after the adamantium skeleton. That's all I'm saying. That's literally the end of my point.
Okay,
anyway-
so
Sorry.
before this, we were talking about Wolverine. Side note.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anyway, anybody else? How'd you feel about it?
So I obviously like every other movie we've seen like up to this point, I walked in completely blind.
Mhm.
Me
I
too,
didn't
me
even
too.
know like the scenes or anything. Yep. So I thought it was gonna be about, or it is actually the Godfather, right?
He almost said
I was
Godfather
calling it the
again.
Grandfather at the beginning. I didn't know the name was actually Godfather, but
Brian kept calling it the grandfather, and I wanted to punch him in
Grandfather.
the face. I was so mad.
This is
That was
a
great.
travesty.
Oh, wow. Obviously, well, I mean, I think nobody's okay. Spoiler warning, but
Oh, what?
just
That's
like,
given.
That's given.
yeah,
This is a
it
movie
is a given. That's
podcast.
why I was. Just like all through it, I thought it was gonna be more about Vito,
Mhm.
than just like the the drama surrounding his family and family business,
Mhm.
and the Corleones, I
Mhm.
believe. Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
So I thought it was more just gonna be about him and his own, like you get to see his character development. Like obviously you do through the thing. He's incredibly charismatic character. Absolutely love that about him. I I actually started like laughing a lot in a couple of the scenes just because like some of the characters in this, some of the characters in this have like absolute charisma. Just like I don't know, they control a room without saying anything. And I think
Mhm.
that is actually like that is something in a character that I absolutely adore.
Hmm.
Um, that and bold-faced lying to the people you love the most. Not really, but I don't know. I walked in not knowing even the name, and I walked out just like my mind absolutely blown. I honestly can't wait to see the second one. I may even go watch it on my own, just
Mm.
because yeah, like you guys were talking about it, you said the second one's better than the first, and just off the cusp of the first,
The first was fantastic.
one of my probably favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
Probably top 10. Like
Wow.
it just up there, dude. Okay, given I haven't seen like The Irishman, or I haven't seen like all like a lot of crazy ones, but instant top 10. It's probably sitting at like number 8 or 9, just because I have other movies that I saw during childhood, or like other movies that are phenomenal too, stuff like that. But absolutely blew my mind.
So
Yeah.
that's probably one of
Sorry.
the first like actual mafia movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
Because
Me
again,
too.
like I just like Brian, I haven't watched any of those. My dad didn't watch those. Well, I mean, he may have, but like I didn't watch them growing up. So I actually think this is like the first like mafia movie I've seen. Because I missed that whole wave of them.
Wow.
Mhm.
Jose or Nathaniel?
All right, I'll follow that up. I'm like the opposite. Mafia movies have basically been like a household name. Well, not necessarily mafia movies, but Robert De Niro and Al Pacino have been like household names for me since I was like 12. And since they are so many of the major mafia movies like Goodfellas, Scarface, Heat, etc.,
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with those growing up because my dad fucking loves Robert De Niro. So I'm not at all a stranger. Um, as for The Godfather, the first one has always just been the one that I say comes before part two.
Wow.
The first Godfather has always, the way I always say it's like, oh, that's the one before part two. That's the big one, but like part two, I like part two way more. Me and Steven are like the ones who are very familiar with The Godfather, who are the experts coming into this.
Basically.
Well,
Yeah.
we're the experts. Marlo Brando is Vito, and I think it's a little bit lost on us now that it's like 2020. But Marlo Brando is like probably one of the most iconic actors that ever lived, especially for that time period. He was like a god among cinema. Um,
Did he
he's
put on that voice, or is that his normal voice?
He put on that.
oh, that's not his actual voice at all.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
He does
Uh,
have a light tone to the voice, but that he put on the
He
voice.
he's also like a very heavy what's that called when you like you get really into the character? I don't
What,
remember.
Method
method
Method.
acting?
Method
Like a
acting.
method
I
actor.
want to
Yeah.
say he's very much like that.
Oh,
If I
dude, he's intense with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Um.
cut you off. Go ahead.
Uh.
Marlon Brando's great. You were talking about Godfather
Ye-
1, it comes before Godfather 2.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, like, for example, like if you've ever heard like Streetcar Named Desire, he was like the main guy in that. Like like
Apocalypse
he,
Now.
he's like, maybe it's not the best comparison, but like Leonardo DiCaprio, but like of then, and like big, like everybody knows this guy. He's been like in tons of iconic movies.
Yeah.
So it's honestly I don't know like how much his name contributed to like the marketing of this movie to begin with, but I imagine this was like a Hallmark blockbuster because of Marlon Brando. Um, and it's honestly kind of surprising that like again we didn't grow up in that period, so it's like hard to say what point in his career he was, but he kind of isn't the main. He's not like the main character of this movie or
Yeah.
the next one, so it's funny that Marlon Brando is like so synonymous with The Godfather. But anyway, I like the movie. It's a good movie, and we'll talk about more of it when Nathaniel tells us how he feels.
Yeah, I love the film. It was an awesome movie. I love the acting in it. And like I said, my parents also grew up watching all the mobster type movies. So I love some mob movies. I love it. I love the mafia type movies. Like Jose said, from Heat to Scarface to Goodfellas to Casino. I love them. I need to see Irishman. Still need to watch that one. But no, overall, The Godfather was a great film. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
I also want to add.
Go ahead.
The only reason I even know who Marlon Brando is because Dio Brando is named after him. And
I don't know how to
I
feel about
hate
this.
to say that, but that's honest.
I
Like
was about to joke.
literally
Is
the
it because of anime?
no,
Did it somehow pop up?
it literally is. That's actually
I'm
the
like,
only reason I know who Marlon Brando is, because this is the
amazing.
first movie I've ever seen him in.
And to add on about that, many people Jose's right. How Marlon Brando was like a household name, and there's a story Samuel Jackson always tells where he was like at a concert and someone was doing the Ezekiel speech from Pulp Fiction behind him, and when he turned around, it was Marlon Brando, and he was like, "Oh, he said I fangirl." He was basically like, "I fangirl." It's Marlon freaking. It's the
I'm like
legend.
Marlon Brando has to be like in a top 5 list of greatest actors ever,
Oh,
like
yeah.
top 5 or 10. Like,
Actually, I believe he has 2 Oscars. By the way, he died in 2004.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
And
God rest his soul.
he
Yeah,
I know.
refused this Oscar. He refused the Oscar for The Godfather. I remember that. I think that was.
he sent oh, it was either this movie or it was a different movie, but he sent like an like Native American woman
Yeah.
to take it on his behalf and like speak on like the issues plaguing Native Americans, and it was like, whoa, dude, this
Yeah.
guy does not just care about Hollywood garbo.
He has cool interviews. I've seen him on the Dick Cavett stuff and like him. They're really cool.
Wow. He little known fact, the last thing he ever acted in was the video game for The Godfather. I forget what console it was on. I guess it was on a
Amazing.
few. But yeah,
Probably PlayStation or something.
I don't remember if his lines were only in this part, but I remember seeing a clip up from it, and it's him in like the hospital, and like he was like shot, and he's talking like he's like hurt, and he's like doing that thing, but he's like really old, and you can tell. And that was the last thing he ever acted in before he
Oh,
passed.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, gotta go out on a strong note, you know, especially.
I mean, I don't know how good that game is, but
No,
sure,
probably.
sure.
I don't know. I don't. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually don't think I grew up in a fan. I mean, I like, I don't remember the first time I ever saw Goodfellas or The Godfather, but like, I don't know, in my like teenage to adult life, I know my mom loves both of those movies a lot, and I've seen both of them with her, I think. But yeah,
Time Magazine actually named Marlon Brando actor of the century.
wow, 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 wow.
For further reference.
That
He's
man
phenomenal,
destroyed
that's
the
for sure.
1900s.
He
The
was
entire thing.
big. And it's funny how Posey's like, My Streetcar Named Desire. Legit, mom probably watched that for a whole week because it was recorded. And mom's like, this is one of the best movies. And dad came in. She was like, hey, dad was like, is that Marlon Brando? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
I have to go
Outstanding.
yell
If
at my dad now and be like, "Why didn't you show me these?"
Are you cultured, Dad? Are you cultured?
That's like the last thing I say to him as he's like getting on the plane because he's leaving tomorrow. And like that's the last thing I'm gonna say to him is, "Why didn't you show me The Godfather? You're horrible." And then that's it. I leave.
Oh, and
Dang.
not to interrupt, but apparently also Sonny, the actor who plays Sonny, and Tom Hagen, they also were in the game. And Tessio, the guy who played
Wow.
Tessio, they reprised their role.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, I think the acting pretty much across the board was pretty good. There was one scene I remember, and I don't remember who it was, but I was like, oh, that's kind of weird the way they acted. But I think it might be like a generational thing or like a time thing, because maybe back then people wouldn't have felt the same. But I think pretty much all the acting in this movie was phenomenal. Oh, it was the guy who had the horse cut off in his bed. He
Yeah.
just kind of screamed for like 30
His
seconds.
screams were kind of weird. Yeah.
Dog,
At
no,
first, it
I
was
love that
cool,
part.
but
That was
then-
the best part because it was like
no, it
the
was great.
mafia thing to. Not the best part, but it was a really
Right.
good part.
It was a great part. I just mean that I think his acting was weird, but I think other than that in the movie, pretty much everybody else acted phenomenally, in my opinion. It's pretty great, pretty incredible.
I agree.
I think I don't honestly don't really have too much to say about The Godfather. I think a lot of stuff comes from. I said this at the beginning. He not he. The movie's really dense, a lot more dense than I remember. Like every scene I'd like watch, and I think Brian was talking about how like people command a room and like their presence is like
Yeah.
you can feel it. But I think that a lot of the movie is shot that way, and like it feels like that. Like after Michael gets like punched in the face, like he walks over and he gets like cigarettes from his dad's desk, and then like once they're like planning him shooting those guys, he's like Sonny's like freaking out and he's getting up and he's walking around, and then Michael's just cool in his chair, his legs crossed, and he's like I don't know, like planning. And then like that one scene where he was like giving the guy his
Yeah,
cigarette and lighting it, and he was
that was a really good scene.
it just
It's
there's
like
so much.
the guy's shaking, and then it's like
Yeah,
it's the kind of
Michael's
like
steady hand.
exactly the
yeah,
the juxtaposed position. Word of the night, fellas.
Juxtaposition.
okay, yeah.
The juxtaposition of the characters. Yeah,
I, there's something really cool about the way that characters they're given like um they're characterized through like every facet of this movie, like visually, through dialogue, even just through their like position, like in a scene, and the way that like they act. Like it's really cool the way that I don't know. Like I know so much about these people when like I've seen them like Sonny was in the movie for like I don't know, like 25 minutes of the like 3 hours, but like I feel like I've like known him my whole life and I know everything about him. I know what kind of guy he is.
Mm.
And I don't know. It's just it speaks to the way that this movie like I don't know.
That was definitely something. Yes, the characterization actually is something I absolutely adored in this film. Something you talk about when it comes to like different like movies and animation, anime, stuff like that. Steven, the one thing you've always talked about is like where they give way too much like plot and they don't leave anything for you to kind of figure out. And I'm very sure, Steven, maybe you weren't around for that part because that's when you went to like go get water or something. But I was sitting there and I was like drilling Jose and Michael at the beginning of the movie about who was
Oh
who.
yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
hearing you
No,
say
yeah,
that when I got back.
we spent like the entire time you were gone. We spent going through the characters again and telling you
yeah,
who
because I
was
was
who.
I was just trying to catch up and like put faces to names because
Yeah.
they didn't introduce the characters. Be like, hey, this is Sonny. He's so and so's son.
Yeah.
This and this.
Nah.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't. It was that old thing. Show don't tell. That's what it's called.
The
Um,
Godfather does that kind of thing that I can't like think off the top of my head of other examples, but it does that thing where it throws you like right into the middle of
oh, in
the environment and
medium,
actions.
in media or something.
Well, it's not
I'll
exactly that because that's like midway
I'll
through the plot, but there's like no plot really happening. You're just being thrown in the middle of the people's lives
I
because
I yeah. Oh, I
because
really
in medias res is what
you
I
finish.
believe is the
yeah, but
middle of the
that's
plot.
different.
Yeah.
That's not this.
Well, that's different. That's not the same
Yeah,
thing.
that's in the
You
middle of the
finish.
story. This is just the middle of the characters' lives. Because the Godfather starts off and it uses the wedding of the sister Connie with
Mhm.
Carlo. It uses that as an excuse to basically put every single character that's in the movie that's
Pull them
related
all
to the family
together.
anyway.
In the
I was
same
about to
Yeah,
bring
movie.
just
that up.
puts them all at
Yeah.
once,
Yeah.
and you
We
get to
even
see them
saw
all interacting with one another.
yeah, we saw Bazzini there. He's the one
Yeah.
who
He really showed up there.
Yeah,
yeah,
he got that
so
guy to the camera guy.
yeah, if you remember the scene, there was the camera dude took a picture of everyone at a table and then got
Oh,
roughed
the
up
city.
because an old dude told them to. That was Bazzini.
Oh no, this was
He
okay.
like
Okay.
points at that guy
Bar,
and then
bar,
his
bar,
goons go
Yeah,
over and grab the
even
film
he
and then
shows
he
up.
like
Barzini?
has it.
Yeah.
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 Even he shows up then.
Yeah. Like everyone that was like important or crucial to the plot like
His
was
name's
there.
Emilio
Yeah,
Barzini.
I'm
But
personally a
yeah,
big fan of that. Yeah.
oh yeah, if I mean if you think about it, like in all of our lives, like the only two times you see like everybody in your life is when someone is either married, maybe if they're born, and then when they die, and then those are the only times that you get to see like your whole family. So
Hmm.
it's a kind of
Yeah.
like a smart, especially in like a, a Catholic family, well, of like a million, because as a Catholic, that's how we are. As a baptized Catholic, that's how we are. um I don't know, it is a really cool point to get into these people's lives and see how they operate, and like, oh, this guy, he's upstairs sleeping with some girl he found in there, and then like this guy is like
Oh,
the
Sonny.
god,
Yeah,
yeah,
Sonny.
and
He did
this
do
guy's
that.
the godfather, he's taking care of everybody, and this guy's here with his girlfriend, he's like showing her around, but he's saying that
He's
this is,
he's
he's not too
he
attached to these people.
He's trying to
exactly.
keep a
He's like, these are my
distance.
family. This isn't me.
Yeah,
If I
it's
could
so
add,
cool.
not to interrupt, but
No, you're good.
if I can add to it, I also like how it was a good way of like showing everybody, but also they kind of use is her name Katie? Michael's
K.
Okay.
Okay.
they use her to also kind of like explain stuff. So like when she's like, "What's a concierge?" He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's like a lawyer, basically." So it's like they use those two to kind of get you even more introduced into certain terms someone might not know.
Yeah.
But also with characters, I like the whole beginning because it gives you also more insight into who Vito is, like how powerful this guy is at the
That's the
party.
first scene. Yeah.
He is like everyone's going to
He's
Vito. They need his. They're like Vito. Can I have this? Can I have this? He's like,
how come you've never come to me and you've
exactly.
never called me friend? And I'm like, ooh,
To go back to command,
ooh.
I like how in this movie they really show like he can command a room, but just by waving his hand. Like he'll
Yeah.
tell someone to shut up by waving his hand, or like different ways. Like when he stands up, everybody stops and looks at Vito. He is the Don. He's the Godfather. Like you don't
It,
mess with him. I
the
like.
hierarchy is so explicit in like that family. like you can just again you can tell like positioning and like how everyone treats Vito. You can really tell like who is getting like certain levels of respect. Like Paulie, dude, nobody gives a flying fuck about Paulie. Like Paulie does one thing bad and betrays the family, and it's like kill that dude in 2 seconds. But then you have like obviously Sonny. It's like the second that Vito's like put out of commission, Sonny's like the next one online where everyone's looking to him like you're the next person we respect the most. So I think that like as
Exactly.
like
And
Nathaniel alluded to, Vito commands like a lot of respect, but he's not the only one in the movie who you see like the degree of respect that people have towards him, like what the reputation is. Like everyone has like a certain reputation that you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And a side note, remember you said the guy who was actually like he was actually part of the mob.
yeah, Luca Brasi.
He's
Luca
also
Brasi.
he also was he had a career in professional wrestling.
He did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Lenny Montana
Yeah, I thought that was
or
amazing.
Montana, whichever.
Dude, Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes. That was dope.
So
Dude, that was.
which one was your favorite brother?
That's an interesting question.
Interesting question.
You know
Out of
why? Because the answer to my question is I hate every single one of them for completely different reasons.
oh
Wait,
boy.
every of the three brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Michael, Fredo, and
Michael,
then Sonny.
Fredo, and Sonny.
Yeah, they're all awful.
Can you
I'm
break it
not.
down for me, Steven? Can you break me
Okay.
down how you feel?
So Michael is definitely the one that I like respect the most because he has the most like respectable
Charisma.
character.
Yeah,
Sure,
it's
he has
charisma.
charisma.
Bro, you see
He's
him like fall. I didn't even mention it. I was
Mhm.
going to, but like like the movie is about him.
Yeah.
But like
His
Oh yeah.
it isn't like at
his
first.
spiral into
It's about
the
his spiral into the
I
mob.
I want you to
Yeah.
asterisk that, and I'll get back to that
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I
No,
don't think it's a
that's a
spiral at all.
that's a good topic. But yeah, no, Michael's the one I respect the most, but just like he at the beginning you see him him and Kay's relationship is really cute. He's like smiling and like he treats her right, and he's a good man. He's a war hero. You know, he comes back. He doesn't want to be in like
that
this
was
business. He's there for his family. He's there at the wedding. You know, he cares about their lives. He just doesn't want to be a part of what they do and like
Yeah.
how they like treat other people. And he's only dragged into it because of he cares about his family and his father. But then once he starts to like he feels like it's his responsibility and then he starts to get into it and then he feels that power and then it like takes control of him and I don't
what do you
I
think
guess
is
I
the turning point?
respect that. I don't know if I could isolate that. I think that's another asterisk. But let me continue because Alfredo is terrible. He's like
Dude,
half
fuck
a
Fredo,
man.
dude.
He's so annoying.
I was
hate him
gonna say he's
so
a
much.
pushover. He's the
There you
person
go.
who gets stepped on and then apologizes to the person or
Yeah,
thanks them,
yeah,
whichever.
he that's exactly it. I don't know, he's not he just exists. They knew that they could just send him to Las Vegas and that would just be him for the whole movie. And it's just like, well, all right, Fredo, go be over there for a little bit. We'll see you
Hi.
at at like the last 20 minutes.
When you sound like a woman in a domestically abusive
Yeah,
household, I was
I
like,
deserved it.
"Whew,
Yeah,
wow. I was like, wow, okay. He was like, yeah, I set him straight, and it was because it was like, yeah, no, he set me straight and everything. I was just like, you actually sound like your sister after she got hit by her ex-husband, now ex-husband.
yeah. I and then Santino. I mean, I guess he at least like he cares about the people in his family, right? Which I think they all do.
Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite things. A very brief side note about this
Mhm.
movie is just like the
Talk
like
about the bonds of family.
yeah, which I think um in an immigrant family I think is something that I don't know is very like important. Like you know we stick together, we do this together. I'm working here for you, for all of us, for our family, and I think that that was a
I
really
do
cool
this
thing to
because,
see.
yeah,
Yeah, he even said that is that he does everything like to provide for his family. Um, And so Sonny like did that. Like he was like, "Oh, my sister, you're beating on my sister. Well, I'm gonna leave you bleeding in the street, buddy. I'm sorry."
beat the crap
He's
out of
not
him. I was
sorry
like,
actually.
jeez.
Yeah, that was a cool thing for him. But then I don't know, just like his character and just like the way that he thinks through problems isn't something that I like. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's
Like
everybody who he
he
talks
was a
about. It's like,
dickhead and
yeah,
a cheater, because he was a cheater himself.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, and then also
Wait,
like
was he
he
married?
always, yeah,
Yes.
he was married,
He had a
and
baby.
he had a kid.
I missed that
And
part.
he was, yeah, it's weird to see him like cheat on his wife and then like, you cheated on my sister? That's not okay, dude. You can't be
Oh
doing
yeah,
that.
okay, so he was banging the chick. What, that wasn't his wife?
No, that was
No,
not
that
his
was,
wife. His
yeah,
wife
that
was
was
named
later.
Sandra.
Yeah.
If you remember, because every time they showed that in the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah,
'Cause-
he was like with his wife,
Yeah,
and then
That's
and then
like
fucked
at
she
the
up.
would like
wedding.
look at him with like disdain and like disappointment.
That's true.
Yeah, and then
The Playboy.
holy cow, yeah, I just in hindsight. So if you look it up, if you look up Sonny Corleone, you can actually see him with his wife at the wedding.
Yeah,
And then he proceeds to go and
Like
bang
scoot
a
over
different
and
chick,
yeah.
somebody else, completely different outfit,
Yeah.
upstairs at his sister's wedding. I'm like,
yeah.
ooh,
I definitely like the fact that no one in this family is perfect. Everybody has something that like, I don't know, is
you know,
dislikable, or they're a human being.
They all
But
have a flaw.
yeah, so if I was picking which brother, I would say should be the head, I guess I would kind of have to say Michael, just because he's the most capable out of
Mm.
almost probably anybody in the family.
he's definitely the most capable.
Which
But I
one?
definitely
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
But I definitely I don't like him, but that's kind of the point, is that he's kind of, you know,
What about
that's
Tom?
him. Oh, you're right. Tom's dope, but Tom's not.
Tom,
He's part of the family, but he's not a Sicilian man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So, all
see.
right, Tom's the one I like the most. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone.
Tom is
Tom.
great and straight
Mm.
cut, but I completely disagree. Wait, no, I don't completely disagree. I don't believe Tom should ever be the head of the family.
Mm.
Just because at the beginning, especially, and given at the end, he knew exactly what was going to happen. He was there with Michael
Mm.
as his friend, as opposed to his wartime
Consigliere.
concierge or concierge. Yeah,
It's all the same.
eh, co- yeah,
Advisor.
advisor.
Yeah.
Let's just say advisor. Um, he was there as a friend as opposed to advisor at the end, but towards the beginning, when he was just like, yeah, I think we should do this. I think this, and then Vito's like, is like, no, this is not how this is gonna work. This isn't gonna work well. And Tom was like, we need to do this, and he was being very passive about it, as opposed to thinking about it. He didn't have the us versus them attitude that Michael, Vito, and Sonny had.
Hmm.
Sonny
Uh,
wanted to take the deal too.
did Sonny want to take the
Yeah,
deal?
Sonny wanted to take the deal in the
Okay,
beginning of the
but
movie.
I'm
He
more referring
decided
to the
otherwise
attitude
after
about.
Vito was shot, but he did want to take it in the beginning.
But I'm more referring to Sonny's kind of attitude, where they,
Mm.
especially with Sonny's anger, where they referenced his anger, like even before it happens, like
Yeah, he's a
watch
jerk.
out, you're a time bomb kind of thing. It's like, hey, be careful.
He's dangerous.
And Sonny's very much like, this is us versus this is them. So I do think he had the us versus them, whereas Tom didn't have the us versus them attitude. I don't think Sonny was in the same mindset as Vito or Michael.
But
Mm.
remember, in Vito's own terms, Sonny was a bad Don.
He
He
was.
did say
Sonny's
that.
Oh,
Sonny
God rest his
like
soul.
the reason that things got as bad as they did were because of Sonny. He's
Sonny
the
didn't
reason
do.
everything got so bad.
Yeah, he didn't do what Vito did, where he's like, "All right, I'm making amends. You hurt some of my people. I hurt some of yours. We're done. We're even.
Yeah,
Let's move on." Sonny's like, "No, I'm gonna kill you all. You're beating my sister. I'm gonna go kill you. You're
yeah.
I'm gonna
against me.
beat the
We'll
crap
kill
out of
you."
you.
Like
Yeah.
literally all of the problems they had were caused by Sonny.
I wish he could get away with that. Like just kill them all and win. I wish it
For
was that
real.
easy.
I mean, that's
Wish
what
it
In
was
Michael
that
life,
easy.
not
did.
that easy.
Michael kind of just like killed everyone.
And
Well,
I
Okay,
was
so
because
he's
mad.
smarter about it.
Michael did it right. He
Exactly.
killed them all at once.
But
Exactly.
I
Ah,
think he
smart guy.
also, yeah, he also knew that they were gonna kill him.
Yeah, he didn't really do it in like retaliation for anything. He did it because it was the right move, not
It was,
because he
Yeah,
yeah,
felt
it was
like
a,
it. It was strictly business.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you have to.
that's
Sonny
the
Be
took
on the
everything
thing
defensive.
personally.
that
Yeah.
Sonny was saying. Oh no, it's business. And obviously it's
It
like,
wasn't.
okay,
Yeah.
no, you're not convincing anybody that it's business, right?
No, you're
Now
not.
I
Right.
do like I do like the last thing that Vito told Michael though. Is just like, whoever comes to you and tries to do the deal, that's the traitor. And I was like, dang.
He's
Yeah, that's
smart.
such a great moment at the funeral where he's sitting there and like you remember that conversation and then he's looking at him and he's like he
Yeah,
knows.
he's like, hmm.
You
Yeah,
can
and
see
then
it in his eyes like I'm gonna
yeah,
kill that guy.
Tessio comes up, and then like Tessio's like afterwards, like laughing and everything. He had no clue Michael was already
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
aware of everything. I was like,
and you knew that Tom knew all that too,
Yeah.
because they said at the funeral, he's like, I always thought it was gonna be Calenza, not Tessio.
Yeah.
And similar to that whole situation, I might change if that's okay with everybody. I might try to
Vroom,
change,
vroom.
No,
ahead.
it's not okay.
but
Keep it
what
going.
what it was gonna be is
oh
I
dear.
like, speaking of the funeral, I liked how he was like, we're gonna get him at the baptism, and I like how the scenes went back and forth to like, all right, do you renounce your sins? He's like, yes, and it shows him like loading a gun. He's about to kill all the Dons. Like,
I was
It's
actually.
it's
do you
so
renounce
it's
all the devil's
perfect.
work?
It's
Yeah, like,
It's
so
literally perfect.
like do
the
you renounce all the
symbolism in
devil's
it.
work?
I
And
was just like, so
like the coldness in his eyes, and when he's like, "Do you
Yeah.
renounce the devil's work?" He's so cold, and he's like, "Of course." And then it just shows them gunning people down. He's like, "Yeah," and and then he's like, "Then you're
that
baptized." And it's funny, like he's not baptized like in a Christian sense. He's baptized in he's
in blood.
part of the mob.
By
He's
fire.
officially born. Yeah,
That
Yeah.
yeah, and
Don
that and
Michael is born.
yeah, and
Don.
so I do have a question though. Steven, was it who said that it wasn't necessarily his spiral into
That
the
was
mob?
Jose.
Jose said
That
that.
was me.
Jose, could you elaborate on that?
I feel like okay, this might take a hot second, and I might not be very well articulate, but I will try.
Go ahead.
I feel like when we start the movie, because what do we know about Michael when the movie starts?
He's
War
from
We
the
know
hero.
that,
war.
yeah, we know that
Yeah,
he was on a
wartime
war,
hero.
and we know that I think we learned, I don't know if at the start, but at some point we do, that he like fled away from war, fled away to war as like a way to get away from the family business, or
Yeah.
like to try to not become involved like all his brothers were. And we also know that Vito looks at Michael in a different way than he looks at all the other kids. Like Michael's Vito's favorite kid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
like when
You could
like
easily tell.
when he's laying down on the bed, and maybe it's Sonny who says it. I think it's Tom. Tom's the one who says that Michael was the one who did the job.
Hmm.
And then Vito just like basically just waves his hand and tells everyone to leave, and you can see like on his face that he's like not pleased
he's
by the
distressed.
fact,
Yeah,
because he is that immigrant father, and he's like, the last thing I wanted for Michael, the one who was the one with the most promise, is to become involved in the same shit
that
that
was
like we are. He's like,
that is the whole conversation he had where he was like, I want him to become governor, whatever,
yeah,
like
he
whatever.
wants him to
Yeah,
become a politician, like respected in that way, not because he's like the head of a mafia.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that Michael has a different experience in life than Vito did. And I think that when he went away to war, he probably experienced a lot of very damaging things. So when he came back, I feel like he came back more with a PTSD mindset. So when he was like at the shop sitting down with the two guys and he like shot them point blank and you saw like his hand was shaking, I don't think that was a scenario of, oh, now I'm becoming like, now no, like he wasn't innocent walking into that room and killing two people,
Yeah.
because that
Mhm.
wasn't his first time killing them. That was like him
Oh,
sort of like awakening that inner monster that he thought he would have left behind in the war.
Hmm.
okay.
So I don't see, there's like no turning point in the movie with Michael. It's just a him accepting the monster that was inside of him because he went away to like the war. Like we've already established that he's like the one with, I think we said earlier, the one with the most experience or something with
Yeah,
like being like a killer and stuff, because everyone else is like just playing at being like a leader. And like when I feel like there's like a difference when like Sonny, Jesus, I can't say his name right now, but you know who I'm talking about, when the oldest brother feels like he's being threatened for the first time, and like the baby's crying and his wife is right there, and he's like struggling to just like get the gun out of like the cabinet. You can sort of tell that he's like a
you
little bit
mean
immature
Fredo?
about it. No, I'm talking about Sonny.
Oh, was
Like
that Sonny in the car?
No, Fredo dropped his gun when he was walking out of the car.
Yeah,
What
okay,
we're
that was
talking
yeah,
Fredo. Then. Yeah, okay.
I feel like you can tell by the way that the other brothers handle their guns that like they're like way more immature at it. And I think that when Michael was holding the gun at the shop, he was shaking, but it was like different. It wasn't I'm immature and this is like the first time I'm killing someone. It's like, no, I can't believe that I'm embracing this again.
Yeah.
It's like I'm back. That's like him like no longer he's like looking into the abyss and the abyss is looking back.
Mhm.
So I think that his emergence into like the mafia underworld is different than his brothers. So I don't think it's a spiral. I just think it's him being like, I think it's one of those things like, not to freaking compare everything to Breaking Bad, but it's Michael has always been this guy.
Yeah.
That's who he always been. He just never
Yeah.
had the opportunity to actually show what kind of person he was.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because actually I think that the way that those two stories are similar is that I look at it. I think that you're 100% right in that analysis of like who he is and like why he does what he does. But I think the way that I usually look at it is kind of like in Breaking Bad, how it's like a story about power and the way that it like changes the individual. Like Michael, and he might not have even changed. It's just that
Yeah.
like a part of him was brought out because of that power that was always there,
Right.
but he didn't have power before, so he never had to deal with it. He used his like I don't know, his like being good and stuff like that. Like he had a nice girlfriend and he like was a hero shooting the Nazis and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But then it's like, oh, I can like use this to like become respected and
Yeah, like
you
at
know,
the
take
start of
my
the
family.
movie, he's the one that kind of seems like the most innocent to us because
Yeah.
he's like out sitting with his girlfriend and he's like, let me show you the family. So he seems like the one that we would get to be the most relatable to.
He
Mhm.
seems
But
like he actually seems like the youngest. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like the nicest guy. He's got like this
Yeah.
American girlfriend. He's settled down. He's not too involved with the family business. So you'd think that he's like the most good natured, but
Mm-hmm.
my,
I I disagree with that.
I
Um,
disagree. Why do you have to do this?
Well, that's like the picture they paint you in the beginning, though.
Mhm.
I agree that's what
What?
they were trying to paint, but there were so many kind of like shows at the beginning that made me feel like because so I didn't create his character because I knew the challenge that his character would be is when Vito got shot, I saw that and I said that right there, that is how we're gonna know who Michael truly is. Make I didn't draw a conclusion for Michael's character until after his reaction at the hospital. Just because they were setting up all these things. They were setting up like, oh, he's kind of the outlier. He's like, that's my family, not me, right? And I was like, okay, so they're setting the scene, and they're like talking about all these things. But I don't know. I kind of felt like he was gonna go into it anyways, just because I don't
I don't
know.
know why you're disagreeing with me.
Yeah, you
I
still
disagree because I
Well, there's
don't
nothing for you
believe.
to disagree with here.
you
Well,
Do you?
didn't
no,
say anything
I
contradictory.
think Brian saying are you disagreeing that it was PTSD? Or that
no,
was-
no. I'm disagreeing at his starting point, where you said that like he's supposed to be the most relatable. He's supposed to. I did relate to him the most,
Well, that's how they're
but not.
painting him, though. You're
Yeah,
not.
I'm
You
just saying
can't.
he
You
could
can't
seem like
disagree
that.
with that because that's not something you can't disagree to. He's saying that he's not saying that's how he felt about him. He's saying that's
uh,
how the movie painted him, and that is how they painted him. So there's
Well,
nothing for you to disagree to.
I feel like okay. So the way they painted him, they put like a big asterisk over it,
Yeah, that was
where
the point.
his reactions to everything, showed that he wasn't. When I said spiral into the mafia, I mean spiraling into the business itself, not his own personality. I believe his personality was like that from the very beginning. Um,
Okay, so we don't disagree.
Yeah.
no, we don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Therefore,
Um,
you're saying the same thing.
Word.
sort of. From what I understand, what you were saying is that he
He wants to
embraced
fight
it,
me so bad.
right?
He really does.
Well, no, I just don't think he had
Well, not
anything
even like
to
embrace,
embrace.
like necessarily like hard, but it's like he accepted it. He like stopped fighting it because
See, I don't.
once like it started to get really dangerous around him because he had like put his first foot into the business. Like once it got more and more dangerous, it was like, look, it's either I'm dead or I start to fuck shit up.
Okay.
Like
See,
I think
I don't think that. Sorry.
another aspect to that is if he doesn't go and shoot those guys in the restaurant, somebody in his family dies too. Like that, those guys keep coming at his family. There's a war, people
Yeah.
die, and he ends that. So like, at that point there is like maybe a self or probably like a selfish like I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be me. But
Yeah,
also like, hey, my dad's gonna die. My brothers are probably gonna die. Let's just do this the right way. Let's just finish it. It'll be me.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what I think it was. I don't like cuz you
I
can
don't.
for me what Michael was is Michael never acted out of emotion or personal things. He was like Vito. He acted out of reason. He only did what was necessary, and that's what he acted. He acted out of necessity, not out of like wanting to gain anything necessarily. He was like he was like acting out of survival like the entire movie. Like he did what he had to. Like he killed at the end when he killed all those people. He did that because he had to, because he knew that they were gonna keep coming for him. He killed those two before because he had to, and then he fled to Italy because he had to. Like like everything he did because he's like, this is the only thing I can do to secure the safety for me and my family.
I think
Like,
yeah, that's a really good analysis. I also I really think that analyzing my favorite thing about this entire franchise, this entire series, is looking at the differences between Vito and Michael, because I think there's just so much there about
yeah.
like, I don't know, what's a man, what's a father, what's like a leader, like just to look at like how they both handle situations differently, which like the second movie goes into more, which might be why it's my favorite.
The
But
juxtaposition. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I just think that there's just so much you can glean from the differences between both of those men, and like the similarities too, because you're 100% right um, about the way that they both carry themselves in the
I
criminal
don't think
world.
he embraced anything. I think he revealed. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I disagree with you on.
That's like
Where
the
you
same
like,
thing.
I don't.
I was
I don't
I
think
was
so.
literally gonna say that.
I don't.
Wow.
I disagree with saying it's the same thing. I think that the way the
Michael's
character was set up,
Brian, you're
is
trying to
the
make me
idea
famous
is
so bad right now.
what? No, I'm not trying to fight you. I promise.
I'm taking back what I said about it being the same thing. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It is. It is the more of like he's the youngest, but you never realize it. But the youngest is the biggest monster, right? He went to war. All those things already affected him. He already became a person, and the movie is just it's Michael's character throughout the movie is just revealing this monster, somebody who can just plain up lie to his wife, who can do all these things. I think actually that part he might have embraced,
Okay,
but
I'm
I
going.
believe the monster was there from the beginning.
Okay, so again, you are saying the same. Don't interrupt. You are saying the same thing as Jose. And the reason that you're saying the same thing as Jose is you're just saying it from a different perspective, but you are saying the same thing. Because you're saying that he had this monster inside him all along, which is what Jose said. And then you're like, but he was just revealing this part of him, right? Which is true. He did do all that. And Jose is using the word embrace because he had that inside of him, but he was trying to reject it, which you can see in the beginning of the movie. So revealing it and embracing it in this situation mean the same thing, because like you have to like if you reveal a part of yourself, you also have to embrace it yourself to make it you, which is what he did, because that you
To
can see
make it
that throughout the
seem.
movie. And so you like that's why I'm saying that you're saying the same thing, because you literally are. You're just saying it from a different point, which means you can't disagree with him because you're saying the same thing as he is. You're just talking about a different part of it.
Maybe, but
What?
I don't
Yeah,
buy him at the beginning saying like, "Oh, I don't associate with my family," and like,
He
"That's my
himself,
family, not me." Him
he
saying that,
he literally said
I'm
that.
sitting there, I'm like, "That's a bold-faced lie." I
oh,
believe
okay.
that is to be a
Uh
lie. I think that's him lying.
I
If
to
I could
me,
add something,
oh, you go ahead. No, no.
I just found it funny because not even it doesn't even seem like his family wanted him to be part of it. You know,
they
Yeah,
didn't. Yeah, they very
they
much
pushed him
didn't.
away as much as they
when
could.
when they're all sitting, Sonny's like, "We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this," and he's like, "Michael, go get the phone." He's like, "Go get the phone. Don't listen to what we're doing here." And then like it felt like they all were like, Michael had to do it, and they're all yeah. I did like that.
Yeah, because like everyone's like, you have the most potential out of all of us for success, but we don't want your success to be in this
In
business.
the dirty
We want your
business.
success to be out there, like somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
I think.
everyone like explicitly said that too.
Mhm.
Like that wasn't implied, that was said. Go ahead, Steven.
I mean, I think what we can all agree on. I don't remember if you
I
said this.
disagree.
Oh, okay. Wait, what did you disagree with?
He's making a joke.
You said we can all agree on. Nope.
Oh, that's funny. Sorry. um, is that at the beginning when Michael says that, that's him. He's been to war. He's seen what it does. He knows what this life is, and he has this nice girlfriend. He can start this new life. Who he is on the inside, whatever that is.
Yeah,
He's either trying to reject that or push it away, push it down. He knows
yeah,
that if he goes back in, then that'll come out, and this is him saying that's not gonna be me. But unfortunately, him wanting to help his family, and then
Ended with him.
becoming that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I say reveal and embrace the same
In,
thing.
like,
I don't see a difference. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that-
Yeah. That's why I love like the ending shot of the movie because you just see Kay look up and stare at Michael as he's surrounded by everyone. And it's almost like that moment of like in her head she's probably thinking like, is
Wow,
that
crap.
is that the same Michael from like
Yeah.
the wedding the other day?
Yeah.
Or did I like there's something different about you? And
Yeah.
but it's like but like the transition was so seamless that she like barely noticed it until it was like complete.
Yep. And then the door comes up and she's out. It's too
That's
late.
why
She's locked in.
that's why I sort of like argue that it was always inside of him because when a transformation is like truly like hardcore, like yo, dude, you change a lot. You get like to bring Breaking Bad up again. You have like Walter White like starting again to fight with his wife, and his wife's like, "You're a terrible person." But Kay in this movie never even says like, "You're a terrible piece of shit," because he lies so seamlessly. It's always been a part of him, but it's just like under the surface. But he's literally never been any different.
Mhm.
If
But
if it
that's
had been a true transformation, she at the end of the week she would have been like, "You're a liar. You totally killed that person. You're lying to me." But no,
you're not the same man I met. And
yeah,
yeah,
but it's like no, it is the
And
same man.
he
that right there is
is.
my argument is
Yeah.
that the entire movie is just revealing who he is. He doesn't change. Well, he does change a little bit, but for the most part, his character has already been set in stone to a point. I think that is what's so cool about the character is he comes back from war. He comes back as like this hero and everything.
Yeah.
And just the little snidbits throughout the movie, like him lighting the cigarette for the guy who's like shaking, they get like him being like, "They're gonna kill my father. Let's move all this stuff here." That shot specifically is where they start to reveal the true character of Michael. I don't think he started out different, which is why I
Well,
say,
he started trying to. He started out trying to be different,
but I don't
which
think
is
so.
or
I think that's just
looking differently because of how the movie
pretending to
presents.
be different in a
yeah.
way where he told what's her face at the beginning, that's my family, not me. And I'm sitting there at the end of the movie, I was like, he was lying there. I think he was lying because every other shot where he tells her something where he's like, don't worry, we'll be clean in 5 years. No, I didn't kill him. Lies, all lies. And he lies to her
Yeah.
like a second language.
He also
I
didn't
And
don't,
tell her he loved her that one time.
he
That
didn't.
wasn't really cool.
Um
in which he got called out on, which is cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
but I don't entirely know if he explicitly was lying at the beginning of the movie though, Brian, because I think that at that point it was still under the surface and he could kind of ignore it
I just think
still at
that he
I
that
was
was gonna
point.
say
more playing the character
at
at the
that
beginning.
point. Well, at that point, he technically wasn't lying. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
He just
He could.
thought he thought he was
Well,
telling the truth.
well, yeah. He thought he was telling the truth of that. Like he didn't think he was lying there, because at that point he actually wasn't involved in the family business. So that wasn't a lie, because that wasn't him at that time. Like it was his true self, but he was trying to push
Character
that
wise,
away.
it was him. I don't
Like
like physically speaking. No, it wasn't him. But like character wise,
well, eventually,
it's
that's what the movie was
the
about.
saying
Yeah.
of the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and I
Yeah.
think that he was already planted in the ground and growing as a tree. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, because
Yeah.
but that doesn't
Jeez.
change the fact that they showed in the beginning of the movie that he wasn't trying to be that. He was
hmm
that, but trying like just because you were trying to not be that, but you are that, doesn't mean that you were like necessarily lying. So like that point that wasn't a lie because because he didn't want to be that. And so like
Or so he thought.
yeah, like he thought
I
he
don't
didn't want to
know
be that. So at that point, at
Why
least
would
to him, he wasn't lying.
like what reason would he have to get lied? What reason would he have to lie then?
because he can. I don't know.
Well, he's not a fucking sociopath.
It's
He's
to
not
an
a
extent, it's very possible he is.
No, I don't think he is.
I
he's
think
I don't think he's
some of
either.
his behaviors in the movie, and especially the way his
He is
sister
capable of
accused him at
understanding the
the
people
end.
around him.
Mhm.
Just because he is very cold-hearted doesn't necessarily translate to the fact that he's a
Okay, so
sociopath.
if we're using like the
It's like
actual
intent.
definition, if we're using the actual definition of sociopath, he's not a sociopath.
Yeah.
But what his sister said at the end was very true, which was you waited until, and I do think at some point he was going to be backed into a corner, but I don't think he had to kill everybody at the end. Um, at
I
the end
think
of
he
the day,
did.
I think the whole movie is a character study of Michael, which kind
No,
of
I
is.
agree.
But
I
I,
agree
I
on
don't think
that
he had to
point.
kill everybody at the end, and instead did it because that's how he saw it, and he feels the same way I feel, where his dad was being too much of a pleaser, where he was like, "Fine, you know what, drugs, I'll give you my contacts, we'll do all this, let's just stop the whatever." Whereas he was quiet and he not maybe a little more paranoid, but he felt as though, you know what, they're all scum, get rid of them. He didn't feel any attachment to any of them. He didn't feel any honor or
Right.
necessity to keep them around.
If I could,
It was the
Oh,
same thing when he killed his brother-in-law.
I think you say your thing.
dude, I was gonna say if I can add on to that. I remember I was looking at something. I was like looking it up. I was like reading it, and someone was like, Michael may be a better like Don or like Godfather, but Vito's a better person. And
Yeah,
you get that,
Definitely,
For sure.
definitely.
you get that contrast. I was gonna ask, do you think Michael? Because you always say like he's cold blooded. He's all this. Do you think he actually learned that from Vito, or do you think that was just because war made him this?
I think it's from war. That's
Because
my
No, I
argument.
definitely think it was war.
the thing about Vito is Vito's also cold blooded. Don't get Vito wrong. He's a Don. He knows what he has to do. Like he was like, oh yeah, I threatened the guy. It was either his handwriting or his brain was going to sign the paper.
Yeah.
So
Well, I wouldn't
honestly,
say it's entirely. I wouldn't blame entirely the war. I think I do say it's Michael to an extent.
I think that's kind
Um.
of yeah. I think it was like the war, but also that's just who he was. I don't think you
Yeah.
can credit all of that to war.
Because it's interesting that when we look at like the differences between like Vito and Michael, because Vito's like the quintessential Machiavellian type dude, where it's like I want to be feared and loved, so he's like feared by everybody, but then he'll show up at the meeting with the other families,
Feared in
and
like a Old Testament God sense kind of thing,
right,
if you
and
study theology.
and
Yeah.
he'll be sitting, and it's like, look, I lost a kid, he lost a kid, I don't want to keep doing this, and he'll like try to have other people engage in the conversation. So it's like that's the type of guy he is. And I think it's funny, honestly. I don't know if this is like purposeful at all. Probably not. I'm reading into it. Earlier on in the movie, um, I can't remember the name of like the Godfather of like Sonny Clemenza. I think that's like his name, the big dude.
Yeah,
Cleanza.
Oh,
Clemenza.
Calenza.
Maybe it's not
It's
him,
Clemenza.
but it's some big dude who says, kids these days don't have any respect anymore. I don't know if this is in
Oh no,
Italy.
that was the dude in Italy.
Yeah,
That was the dude in
That
Italy.
that was
Yeah,
talking
that was
to
the Sicilian Don.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like times are changing for the worse.
yeah,
And I think that's like a little detail of the fact that yeah, you have a guy like Vito and he really cares about this honor and respect and like the families and they're all talking to each other like the friends, even though they're killing each other's kids.
Mhm.
But then you have Michael who has like no sense of this. He's probably not the only one who feels that way. It's like I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to take out anyone who's like opposing me. I don't care about this cordiality,
yeah,
about this being nice with the other families. Like, no,
yeah.
I'm
He
gonna
doesn't care about the
freaking kill them.
politics.
that's a good
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
so that's like a difference that I think is maybe a little bit generational mafia wise,
yeah.
and why I wouldn't necessarily say it's entirely war, because I do think that
There's a lot to that character. I don't know.
Yeah.
To simplify his like change to be from one aspect is a little simplistic. Even
Yeah,
if one contributed more than the other, there's like a lot of things that go into him becoming who he is.
yeah.
But to pivot slightly, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think that we agreed that he's basically been some version of this at the beginning. This is
Yeah,
just him amplified or brought out or whatever.
yeah.
But I think the only
Yes.
true noticeable change that I found was the fact that the warmth that he has at the beginning with Kay and with at the wedding and is smiling and he's like, come over here, come get in the picture, and it's like he's enjoying life. That is gone the moment that his father is shot.
No,
After that,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
serious, he's doing his thing. I don't know if he changes as a person. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I think the way that he interacts with people and the vibes that he gives off are no longer that warm man who's back from war and he's just chilling, living out the rest of his life. He is now this person who has to take this responsibility of taking care of his family, and he
Yeah.
doesn't really have that luxury anymore.
Yeah, no. I think what we were arguing before, I said he didn't change, whereas I believe like Michael and Jose are saying that he did have like a change, or like he
No, wait,
embraced
that's see
literally.
again. That's
embraced
not what he
embraced the
said.
monster within.
Also, before y'all even get on that, I just want to say it was just a tangent. 'Cause before y'all get on this, I just want to say it was so cool. Also, like looking at when Vito was shot, the whole family was like, okay, we got to get him back for Vito.
Yeah.
Like, this is for Vito, and to the point where they're all like, and then when Vito comes back, and it was Sonny who's on the deathbed, and he looks at his own son's dead body, he's like, they massacred him, they brutalized him. It was so cool seeing Vito in the council. He's like, call everybody up. And at first, you're like, what is he gonna say? And he's like, we gotta end this. My son's dead, your son's dead. Then he's like, I don't want drugs on the streets. It's gonna ruin people. We're, and it's like, Vito is
But that's the price he
character.
paid for.
The price he paid, and that's why he's like, my son's dead. And he even said, oh, I'm selfish. I will be selfish.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to be a selfish guy. He's like, but I'm going to end it because I want peace here. And I'm like, that's a cool.
He said, he was like, if you go after my other son, you're fucking dead.
I was like, so what is he gonna do when he finds out they tried to kill him?
That's crazy that he didn't. I guess Michael probably didn't want to bring up the fact that he got married and then his bride to be died. So I think that's why that was never brought up. But that's crazy how he even goes as far to go around the table and hug the man who's responsible for killing his son.
Yeah.
That's just the
that
kind
is
of guy
the
that he
serious,
is.
like,
Yeah,
strength. I was like,
he'll man up and do that just so he can live in a more peaceful world. It's
so less people would
bonkers.
die. He was like, I don't want bloodshed.
I even like how after the hug, like when they let go, they were holding each other's hands. It was like they were looking at each other like, we both lost this because of what we did. Like I understand. Like this is we're finishing this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see that and then realize that there is no universe where Michael will ever do that. Not because of like we said, like a personal attachment. It's just more of he isn't that cordial man. He is the cold-blooded, calculated strike here, and then end the enemy. That's who he
100%.
is.
Destroy.
Exactly, and preemptively too.
Yes, 100%. May I pivot for a moment? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You're gonna pivot again? I was gonna say anyways what I was saying before. Ah!
Wait, what'd you have to say?
No, because again, okay, no, I will briefly explain this, right? So Bryan was in fact trying to fight because he thinks we're saying something that we're not.
I knew
said,
that.
no,
I just wanted to go past because trying to explain this to
said it
Brian's
wrong.
not gonna
I
work.
understand what you
Because
guys are saying.
we
I
are
promise you, I
saying
said
the
it wrong.
same
I
thing
said
as
it, and I was like,
you.
that is not what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Trust me, Michael, I know what you guys are saying. I promise you, I said it wrong.
He
I did not
started
mean to say
talking.
I was
and
like,
I was spiritually looking over at Michael like he's gonna say some dumb
Yeah,
shit.
I was too.
dumb.
I was like,
yell.
he's about to make us yell.
I'm gonna
I said
yell
that.
right now.
I said that, and immediately I was like, well, that's not what they meant. And then you
And I
guys
was
were
like,
like freaking out. I was like, yep, there it is. That's the reaction. Yep. So trust me,
I'm glad
Yes.
we're all on the same page now.
Okay, and I I said it wrong. My bad.
Anyway, I wanted to take the next moment to just gush about all the cool scenes.
Boo, you're not allowed to do that.
No,
Boo.
shut up. This movie's incredible.
Oh wait, can I say something real quick?
Oh, go ahead, please.
By the way, so I noticed something at the end of the movie. I don't know if anyone else did. But it was who. So if you notice at the end of the movie, right, the house that they lived in, the family house, was being sold.
Yes.
It was sold to like a Genko Inc., right? But they mentioned that name earlier in the movie.
Ow! I fell.
And like, I don't know if anyone else noticed that.
I didn't notice that.
No.
So I don't know if it's
Genko?
connected because again
Who is
I haven't
Genko?
seen the rest. I will say it. Because like I don't know how the rest of the movies are, so I don't know. But when Sonny was upset at Tom because he's like, you're not a wartime advisor and shit, he said, Pop got Genko and I got this shit. And I got you, you know? He's like, you're bad. And so I was like, yo, is that the same dude? I'm like, did Genko, who was fucking working with the dad, end up leaving the mob and own a real estate place? Or like a fucking whatever it was? I was like, that's kind of cool.
Wow.
I was like, so we had this person name dropped, right? He meant nothing to us. And at the end of the movie, we see his company like bought the family home and shit. And so I don't think that's gonna have any significance.
That was a really
but
good
I
pitch,
just
though.
I just thought it was a cool thing. I was like, bro, that's kind of fucking cool. Even though we don't know who this dude is, we got to see where he went. You know, I just thought it was
I absolutely love how they do that. Like throughout the entire movies, you don't even know who the character is. They don't introduce you to it, but there's still like name drops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I adore that about the movie.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to keep track of.
It's tense.
It's like
It is dense.
it's like those freaking One Piece manga channels where there's a
Nah.
world in the background going on that we're just not introduced
It's
to.
highly inappropriate to compare this to One Piece. It's
No,
highly inappropriate.
oh, I'm using One Piece specifically, but it's in most most
Don't talk about his favorite
mainstream
shit like that.
high
We're not
high
allowed.
class manga. It's
Is
the
there such a
argument I
thing?
hear about high class manga. I'm gonna call it high class Bleach, One Piece, whatever the frick,
Wow.
Naruto, stuff like that.
Wow,
Is that there's a
Naruto.
world going
Godfather
on
podcast.
outside of what you're seeing. There's things that happen. There's like people who die and things occur,
Right.
but you don't see that because you're focused on these characters.
You are
These are
right.
your characters you're following.
You're focused on this family because they even talk
Yeah.
about, oh, he came all the way. This mobster came, this family came all the way from New York or California. I mean, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
like, there's a world out there. The world's still going. We're just focused on this family.
exactly.
I have no idea how you just talked about anime on a podcast
You're
where we're
not-
talking
you're
about The
I just
Godfather.
Move
I'm
past this.
sorry.
Let's move past
It
this.
got brought
Hey,
up.
Anyway, I want to
Before
go.
it says what-
Dio Brando. I mean, come on. There's some connection. There's some
Okay, I'm
No.
gonna gush. Oh, well,
Steven?
actually, we literally did that at like minute 3 of this podcast. So
We
never
did.
mind.
Connections. There's connections. But anyway,
Forgot
go
about that. Anyway, the horse scene. Oh my God! What a way to introduce a
That's
character.
iconic.
That
One
was
of the most
great.
iconic film scenes ever. One of the most iconic movies.
Like the first scene we get is he's like, "Hey, I want your friendship. I want to take care of you. I want to do all this stuff for you."
Exactly.
And then it's
Like
like,
rough him up, but don't kill him.
yeah. And then we hear about this guy. It's like, yeah, he was like, either your brains or your signature is gonna be on the paper. And you're like, what? That guy who I just saw with the kitten? No way.
The
And
guy
then
who's kind and with the yeah.
yeah. And then the horse head. Oh my
I was
God.
like,
I like how he isn't just someone who murders people. He's someone who knows how to get things from people. He's
I
a person
absolutely love it. He was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
this $600,000 horse ends up in his bed. Guy wakes up and there's like blood on the sheets. And I was like, wait, did they like kill him and put his wife or like do something like that? No, it's the freaking horse. I was
Yeah.
like, what do you mean?
And the music
Ah,
built it up like a horror movie. Like it was elevated
yes.
to the point where he saw the blood. He's like, wait. Then the music's like, "Ba-da-da," and then it's the horse head. It was so good. So good.
That was incredible. The hospital was really tense. I really liked that. That was really
That
cool.
was good. I was
They
really
do it
expecting guys to rush up the stairs.
Yeah. I think that the lighting in this movie is incredible. I think that the first shot of the golden lighting on the man who's trying to get Don Corleone to beat up those guys or kill those guys, I think that that's incredible. We started with him with like this gold light over top of him, and then we back up, and then we're over the shoulder of Don Corleone.
Too much.
That
noise.
guy
It's
that guy
insane.
wasn't even like a main character. He was just
Nope.
a random person. That
No,
was the
but
coolest
it was
part. I was like,
incredible.
he was like, you come into my home or whatever, and like this. And I thought he was gonna be more important throughout the film.
He shows up. But yeah, no.
Did you
So
find
he's-
correlation though? Like he showed up to
His
Vito's
wedding.
No, he showed up to Vito's wedding. Like, oh, my daughter, she's like injured. And then next scene he's in is when Vito goes to see Sonny's body.
Mm.
Like that's the next.
Was
scene.
that?
The
Yeah.
man that's daughter got
It's the
beat
same
up?
guy.
He's the same guy that had Vito see Sonny's
He's
dead
like-
body. And
yeah,
I'm like,
he's like, do your best work. I was like, oh,
that correlation of like their children were, unfortunately,
oh, dude,
I
yeah, I
never
didn't
noticed
realize
that.
that parallel.
yeah, that parallel. Their
He's
children.
like,
both
you came to
were-
see me when your daughter was beaten, so I've come to you when my son was killed.
Yeah.
And it shows even more like that man was like, I want those guys getting beat up, and then Vito on the other hand is like, I need peace. We're gonna have
And
peace.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really makes Vito's character shine. I think that's so cool, and I can't wait
Yeah.
to see the second one because, like I said, the synopsis is a young Vito, right? Spoilers for people.
Yes.
Because this is the first one. Maybe they haven't seen the second one.
I'm
You
sorry,
should watch
Steve.
the second one. We're gonna do it soon.
No, I was just
Probably
gonna continue
eventually.
with cool scenes in this
Yeah,
movie.
go ahead, dude. I'm sorry for interrupting.
When Luca Brasi goes into that hotel where he dies in the bar,
Yeah.
it's like this dark lighting and his shoes are squeaking. He's going down this long hallway and it's like foreboding, but like you're uneasy, but you're uneasy in like a way where it's like, oh, I don't know what's about to happen. And then you go in there and they're all like giving
Exactly.
each other looks, and you're like, Luca Brasi's gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just the amount of I don't know, like that was cool. And like the best scene in this movie, and probably one of the best scenes in all of film history, is when Michael goes and shoots those two guys in the restaurant. Just that entire sequence is so incredible in every
Dude,
way.
everything. I was so tense. I was like, what's gonna go on? He's
Oh,
like reaching, you couldn't find it at first. I was like, it's not gonna be there.
Yeah, what if
It's
they went to a
not gonna
different restaurant? Yeah,
What
and
if-
then
yeah, exactly. And they spun around the car. He was like, "Oh, we're going to Jersey." And I was like, "Wait, is the restaurant in Jersey?" They spin around. I'm like, "Oh no,
yeah,
they're not
so they
going to
weren't
Jersey."
jailed.
I'm
Yeah.
back, by the way.
Oh, we'll come
Exactly.
back.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
that
eh,
whole scene had me on edge, and I hate suspense, and I loved
yep.
it.
He
I
comes
feel-
out. He comes out, and it's like, just come out shooting. He comes out and he just
He
stares at
comes
him.
out and he stares at him, and he sits down, and I'm like,
And this, I don't know if you guys
is he
remember
not
it.
gonna shoot him?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you remember this. There's a really like very small detail, but I think it was really cool. They used the sound of like a train or like a subway system because they're in New York, right?
Mhm.
And so they use that sound when he's in the bathroom. He's like going through his hair. He's like hyping himself up, and you like hear that, and then it goes silent, and then he walks out and he like looks at him, and then he goes and he sits down, and then he's like staring at him. We just look at Michael. Oh my god, it's so incredible. And
Dude, that was such a good
looking at
scene.
Michael's face. We hear the train rev up, and you can see it in Michael's face. He's hyping himself up, making the decision to take 2 lives, and you can see it happen on his face. And the train revs up, and it revs up, and then he pulls it out, and he shoots them both.
Dude,
And
and
I
then,
at that
absolutely love the police
Brian
commissioner's
thought
face.
he wasn't gonna do it at that point.
yeah, I
No,
know.
I was very, I was just like, is he gonna do it? What, like, is he gonna
Yep.
do it when he goes out? Is he not gonna do it? Is there a
Yep.
reason he's not doing it? Does he feel like a whatever? Is this character that I thought was this way actually this way? I was like, did I just get thrown for a loop on this character? Because I was predicting at the beginning that he was like a monster, right?
Mhm.
I was like, this guy, obviously, like the way he was like lighting the cigarette and everything. You guys were discussing that. I was like, this guy's a monster. He just
Mhm.
hasn't revealed it yet.
And dude,
And it, like when that came out, I was like, this is gonna be the big reveal, right?
yeah,
And then he's not there, and I'm like, no, no, wait, they threw me for a loop. I thought they actually like freaking trolled me on that character, but they
yeah.
didn't. They
Eh,
didn't.
dude, and then
He,
the end of that scene where he goes and then he doesn't drop the gun right away, and then he does it right before he walks out, and then he
yeah,
walks out the door,
I was like, he's not gonna drop the gun.
and
Is he
then
gonna go shoot the taxi driver? I
yeah,
thought they had a driver in the car.
no,
I
and
thought they
then
did, but
oh they did, but I don't know, he probably was
yeah,
dumb or something. But
I don't know what
but
it was.
dude, then he walks out, and then you hear those horns, and then you're like, oh my god, just like it's
Dude, that scene was so. I'm sorry,
that
dude. That
was
was such a good
incredible.
scene.
And Jose already talked about this. The final scene in this movie is great. The baptism scene is literally
Dude,
perfect.
the way it was going, where he was like renouncing Satan at the same time, he had the
He
orders to
murdered like 4
literally
or 5 people.
But
Yeah.
murder multiple people.
and during that whole sequence, I feel like also how they use sound was like with the crying baby at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no one wants to, when a baby cries, you're kind of like, you're like, oh no, you want to feel better. But it's like when the baby's crying, it's kind of like, oh shoot, like he's going to murder these people. Like it's kind of like causes this idea of like mayhem. I thought it was cool. And with the final scene before the door shuts too, if I could add on, I also thought that was cool in a sense of like not the door shut, like closing her out, but it's an idea of she's looking onto Michael and she's like, this is the new era. This is the new era of like mobsters or the mafia.
Yeah.
All the old school guys are gone now. And him sitting in the office and them shutting the doors like, welcome to the new era. It's like that idea of like how movies do that. Like we're in a new era now. We're in a whole new setting. Times have officially changed.
Close the door on the old.
Yeah, close the door on the old. And I was like, that's epic.
Yeah, honestly. And that's another reason why I call this movie dense, is that there were so many shots that I wish that I could talk about. I wish that I could remember like each shot that I saw, and I was like, man, that is cool. Like knowing what was coming and like the dynamics that were set up just visually. It's it's basically just a perfect movie is what it is. I don't know if you can have perfect movies, but that's what this is.
I mean,
Much.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it near perfect.
It's accurate. But yeah, I think that's really all I had about the movie. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, how do you feel about that Italian wife?
Boom.
Sicilian.
She was gorgeous.
She was very pretty.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday.
Bro, bro, legit, like, but because she died, Michael got off so fucking easy with Kay, because he didn't have to tell her about her.
Yeah.
I was, because, like, I was thinking, like, as all that was going on, I was like, bro, when you get back to the U.S. in, like, a year, what the fuck you gonna say to Kay?
Yeah.
And then she just dies, and I'm like, well, now you don't have to tell Kay, so you got off easy.
Ooh, nice. She was actually pregnant in the original novel. The movie's based off.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, in that scene, so she got
That's crazy.
killed and Michael's kid.
I think that that's another allusion to like the differences between old and new crime, because Michael goes back to the old country. He like is like set up with this wife. They get married like quickly in our view, but it was like a year or whatever, you know. But like it's like he marries someone from like the old country. He's like settling in, but then she like blows up, and then he goes back to like his new girlfriend, who's like not like I don't think she's Italian. She didn't. I don't know.
Nah,
They never
she didn't seem
mentioned.
Italian to me.
Exactly. And she's like a teacher, you know. She's just like outside, and then it's like I don't know. It's like
You know
a
what? I'm back. Sorry about that.
no, you're fine. Welcome back. It's like him pushing away the or not pushing away, but having the old way pushed away from him, I guess is a
Mhm.
better way to put it. And then he has to like embrace, I don't know, something new, something different.
Correct.
There's a lot of small things in here that was really cool. I also saw. I looked up. It was like, when you look at the Godfather, it's the poster of Vito, but it's like the rose is such an iconic image of the Godfather. The rose on his in his pocket, and I just saw they were like,
Yeah.
and it's funny that the rose also had like a full circle because at the end of the movie, that's what they were throwing on Vito's. All of them were
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah.
a rose, and it went
Yeah.
full circle. Also in the beginning, when he's talking to the guy about like his how daughter got beat up, it's like the rose is in the center of the frame of the TV, so you can like you're staring straight at the rose and looking at Vito. It's like it draws your attention from this dim lit room.
Yeah.
I thought
Guys,
that was really cool. And just one last thing, if I may. Yeah, I liked how it was the all like basically the head bosses in the room. I liked just the idea of him being like, no, 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 drugs are allowed, but we're going to control it. So we're not going to sell to kids. We're not going to have kids sell it to anybody. We're going to control the idea. I'm like,
Yeah,
ooh,
and I was just I was sitting there, I was listening to that, and I was just like, oh, these ideologically, like, I don't know, just naive,
Yeah,
because
that's
that's not gonna look at
Hey
our freaking
man,
predicament in
that's what
America, fellas.
fuels part 5 of JoJo's.
oh my god,
It actually is though.
yeah.
They literally
guys.
say it in the first 2
Back to
episodes.
anime.
I will never not bring up JoJo's whenever possible.
Yeah,
What do
no.
you
Jose, I think you were gonna say something.
want?
Can we collectively recognize the most reprehensible man in the movie, which is Carlo?
Oh
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah,
worst.
dude.
Oh, there goes
Let's wait for
Nathaniel. Oh,
Nathaniel to come back.
He's back.
He literally he hurt his brother. He beat him up and he said, if you touch my sister again, I'll kill you. And then he's like, okay, I have that information in my brain. What if I beat my pregnant wife and
I
I
think
cheat
that was
on her?
not my least favorite scene in the movie, but like you know what I mean. Like I hate I
Yeah,
felt hate in that scene, man.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
visceral. I
Oh my
fucking
gosh, you reminded me. I actually was meant to talk about this. That um, if you know, like we saw the only time we ever saw Carlo beat his wife, beat Connie, was while like Sonny was in charge, right? Because like
Mhm.
after that, you didn't see that shit at all.
Yeah,
And like she actually never even seemed distraught to be around her husband anymore.
yeah, they seemed like they got
And they
along.
seemed better. And because what I think it was is I think that the reason he beat her was purely because of Bazzini.
Mm,
Because it was all a plan to kill Sonny.
wow.
Because if you because I don't know, like again, like
because when he
when
beat her again, he was
yeah,
like, "Yeah,
I
go tell
thought
the whatevers."
yeah,
the weirdest.
and then after that it stopped. We never heard about it again. I think it like the whole reason he even started doing that was purely because of Bazzini. It was
I,
all from the beginning of
mm,
that. It was a plot to kill Sonny.
if you notice earlier in the scenes, I'm not. This isn't to discredit you, but like while I think it was while Vito was in the hospital, but they're like arguing like in the house, and he tells her to like shut up and make the dinner and stuff like that, and he like snaps at her, and like
Mhm.
it's like building to get there, but
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
something where you look at him, he's like, oh, he beats his wife. It's like, oh, they have a bad relationship,
Yeah, it
and
like
then you
gets
like
to
see
that
it.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I feel like cuz like later like they seem fine. Like towards the
That's
end of the
what.
movie, they seem like they have a fine relationship.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
weird.
she was very distraught when he
It's like
died.
weird, right? I
She was
feel
like,
like it's
Excuse me, I don't get it.
yeah,
she
I
was
don't know.
Yeah,
hysterical.
I
She was
feel like
hysterical
it
when he
was
died.
like a
It was a
like
ploy.
Stockholm
I feel like
syndrome.
it was all like a I feel like it was a it could have been Stockholm syndrome. I feel like it was a ploy.
I
Hmm.
think I agree with Michael 100%
I
in
think
this
it
in this
I was
area.
thinking that from like when I cuz when Michael confronted him, he said, "Who put you up to it?" And then it was
Hmm.
and I honestly think that it was just like a ploy. And that's
Hmm.
because he knew that he could get to Sonny by hurting his sister.
That's literally that.
Is
That's
that wait?
another thing that's brought up with Sonny the entire time. I'm sorry, Nathaniel.
Oh, no, you're fine. What
Uh,
was you
Yeah.
just,
saying?
just
Continue.
Sonny. First thing when you meet Sonny. Okay, so first off, the first time you meet Sonny, he's having an affair, at his sister's wedding. Anyways, uh, but like the first time you really meet Sonny, they're like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna talk about Sonny's character, who he is as a person." And he says, "Don't let that famous anger like get out, dude. Like control yourself. You're getting emotional." And time again, they bring that up with Sonny over and over and over again. And even when he takes off alone, he's like, "Freaking trail him. He's on a streak right now. He's pissed." And that's what gets him killed.
Yeah.
And so that's why I completely agree with Michael, where it was definitely his name.
Plan. Oh,
It was
Benzine.
Barzini.
it was Benzini
It's like
using
Barzini or
Carlo
Benzini or
It's
something.
Barzini actually.
It is
It's
Barzini.
Barzini. Yeah, it's Emilio Barzini. I found him here. But it's Barzini knowing because was it him? It was somebody who brought up Sonny's anger.
Temper.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yeah, or his temper. And that's like, how do you get to a guy? Especially somebody who has anger management like
Especially
Sonny.
an
I
Italian.
think.
It's that you get to him through
Okay,
his
what are you
anger.
trying to say though?
His
Italians love their family.
the biggest
He's
The
right.
easiest way to get to an Italian or anyone Hispanic is usually to go for the family because that's what
yeah.
upsets us the most.
I
Like
think.
again, like I could be wrong, but I think it was a
See,
ploy.
I completely agree with you.
I might disagree.
Me
Ooh.
too.
I
Yes.
thought
I
it was
also
at the
do, but I
point.
don't think this is that important whether it was one way or the other.
No, we're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
hear
it's
about
not.
this, Steven.
I just want
No,
to say
I'm not gonna like argue for it.
yeah, we're not gonna argue. It's not. No, there's no arguing. I'm listening to Michael. Actually, I'm not Brian. I'm listening to my. No, I'm joking. But I felt it was more out of like desperation and fear because even earlier, I think before he was like, "Shut up and make dinner." I think they kind of showed hints at it when she was like talking to him on the wedding day, and he was like, "Shut up," and she was like, and he said, "Shut up," and I was like, "Oh." Immediately, I was like, "They
Did that
might."
happen on the wedding day?
I don't
It was,
remember it, but
it
it
was like
probably could have.
early, and I was like, they might be in a type of relationship. And he was even like, "Hey, so Sonny, what can I do for the family? I can do so much for the family." And Sonny's like, "Yeah, just shut up." Like, and it also like goes back to how Jose. It shows how people treat each other. Like, no one cares about Carlo. Like, they're like, whatever. Sonny's like, I don't care. And I think I felt it was more out of desperation because even in the end, didn't Michael have like Carlo finally working for the family
He
for
made him
like
his right hand man.
and like
That's kind of like enemies, friends close, enemies closer, right?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
feel like, but wouldn't Carlin try to do something or no, because that was after he killed everybody. But I just felt it was more desperation, like, oh no, he will kill me. I need to find the family's at war at first, but they won't let me in. The family's already at war with the Benzini. I'll just contact Benzini. It's not hard. He owns like this part. I felt it was more like desperation rather than, oh, I'm planning to destroy some family.
I think Carlo. I think Connie cared about Carlo at the end because she didn't know that he fucked with Sonny.
Sonny.
Fucking
Sonny.
Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't think she knew that. So I don't. I think that's why she just got angry about that.
Well, no,
Oh, I don't think she did that either.
yeah,
But
well, I don't think she knew either, but that's not the point. She didn't have to know. It could have still been a ploy and her
Yeah.
not know because
I mean,
why?
if I want
Because
to
she
actually
wouldn't
address
help.
the ploy, I don't
But
think. I think the general movie's treatment of women kind of just doesn't really lend credence to that fact as being like a special avenue of getting to Sonny at all. Like I don't think because Vito knew about this sort of abuse anyway. It didn't like just start like in general. Carlo was always like a bad to her. We know that, all of us. We all know that. But I think that when Vito was like in charge, um, I think that there's like some kind of like respect and like refusal to intervene when you're like the head of like an Italian family. So I think that's like the only reason they didn't get involved. But as like the siblings, I think that they took it upon themselves too. But I don't think this is like exclusively a Sonny problem. So I don't think this is like a unique play. I think if everyone like didn't care about appearances, they would all have wanted to get Carlo. They would have all gone for him. So I don't think that Barzini would have like done this as a unique tactic to get to Sonny because I think all of them wanted to fucking kill Carlo. Anyway,
I don't know.
Didn't
I
at
don't think
the dinner
Fredo did.
table, not to interrupt, but then at the dinner table, he even like he told Sonny to stop. He was because when Carlo was like, "Shut up," he was like, "Hey, hey," and Sonny's like, "Don't talk to my sister like that." I don't know if it was, but somebody was like, "Hey, let them
Yeah, it
handle
was
it."
Sonny.
Yeah, he was like,
Oh, it was Sonny, and then his mom, Miss Corleone. said, "Hey, like let them handle it."
Yeah, let them go.
And then they were just talking about how like Sonny shouldn't talk business at the table, and then Carlo was like, "Hey, I want a better job in the family." He's like, "We're gonna talk business at the table." That was
Funny.
dope.
That was funny. That was...
Yeah. I thought it was really cool how that scene where he beats her. That's not cool, but I like how at the end they go in the bathroom and you see the teddy bear and it's like the daughter's like bedroom for like the kid because it's all
Yeah.
pink and like frilly and it's like this like innocence, but like behind it is like a very very messed up relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was the closet.
Either way,
It was probably
right?
the bathroom.
It could be either. I don't I don't know, but it was
It
I
doesn't
thought
matter.
it was
Yeah.
a closet, but then they showed the inside and it was all white, and I'm like, I think that's
that's
a
what
bathroom.
that's what I
Did
thought,
they,
but
do
it
the,
doesn't
did
really
they
matter.
show the inside?
Well, you saw it in the
I thought
mirror.
Oh yeah, when they kick it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that that was cool, but yeah, just the fact that he like beat her just so that he could get his brother out of the house, just so he could kill her or kill him.
I'd believe it. Yeah.
That was pretty devious, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So Steven, you do agree?
No, that's
I
just
think
what happened.
no, that's exactly what happened. Is he knew that he was gonna go to kill him if he beat her again, so he beat her again because he had an opportunity to,
It,
and then he used that opportunity to say, "Hey, Berzino or whoever his name is, or
Br-
Berzini, I
yeah.
I I
Rosine.
I just beat her. He's gonna come get me. Now's your chance." That's what happened because
That's
that's
yeah,
how they
because
knew.
that is what
Mhm.
happened there.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't think that that matters either way. No offense to anybody. I just don't
No, I
think
don't
that
think
that's
it
an
matters
important
either.
point.
I'm just telling you what I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I and
We're just
yeah,
sharing our thoughts on this great
exactly. Sure, and that's cool. Yeah,
Dude,
it's such a
nothing
great movie.
matters ever. So
Dr.
like,
Mad.
why
Yeah,
would I get mad?
sure, man. Anyway, this movie's great. I don't remember if I had anything else about it.
I did, but I forgot it was.
Me too.
I'm good, man. I got everything.
Someone's great.
Luca Brasi was really cool for not being an actor.
Yeah, they put him in a perfect spot too.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought that was pretty great.
oh, this movie is so great that I forget what it was, but on the on the wiki it says that gonna make him an offer he can't refuse is they voted as like the second most iconic line in all of film ever,
Dang.
which like
Says it
yeah
3 times, or it's said 3 times, maybe
yeah
more. I
I
remember it 3 times.
yeah I mean that's great. The movie's just so iconic that it I don't know. Not even like thinking about it like in the cultural realm, just like the impact it has on each individual, or at least each person here. I don't want to speak for people who I don't know, but I don't know. I think that just shows how like great it is that even 50 Jesus Christ, 50 years later,
Some
it's still like
21-year-olds
Mhm.
can talk
So,
about it.
No, I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Except
fun
for
fact about Luca
Jonesy.
Brasi. Like they only reference his loyalty like once, where they were like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to stop Luca
If he turned.
from
Yeah.
or if he found out. I don't know if we'd be able to stop Luca from like murdering him because like I'm reading about him, right?
Mhm.
And here it says like he's almost fanatically loyal to Don Corleone,
Yeah, you can
right?
tell.
Yeah.
Sure.
And this is something I don't remember in the film, but was said to have killed a Corleone soldier just for making the Corleone family look bad.
Wow.
So he like it said he killed somebody just because they made like they did something wrong. And I'm like, dang. So like just like that the thing they referenced there, like he had like he was seriously loyal, which is why they had to remove him.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
The death of Tessio was cool. How he understood and he like made like he was like,
Yeah.
He
oh,
made peace,
I
yeah.
also thought that was cool.
that was really cool. He's like, I've been in the game. I worked with the family.
I don't remember he walked away. He got in the car
Yeah, and they drove
And they
and
away.
drove off.
yeah, they didn't even
Yeah.
did
But
you
I
see him
he
die?
did.
there's something like that. I've seen that in other movies, like I won't name them because I don't want to spoil it. But there are other movies like that where people die off camera, and that's like some sort of like compassion. It's like you get to die in peace, whereas like other people die violently on screen.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
And
Carlo.
Yeah.
yeah, there's something like horrific and like I don't know disrespectful in that. But like if you made your peace, if you're like a good person, you get to die off screen, and then that's your peaceful way of going out. Even though he definitely didn't die peacefully. It
No,
was
he
either
was
piano wire or like three in the back of the head. but he died off screen, so
Yeah, as opposed to being choked out with piano wire.
visually, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Yeah,
And,
I,
like kicking your freaking leg through the windshield and then dying with your leg
Yeah,
out
that
on
was
the
my
freaking
climax,
truck. I
dude.
was like,
it's pretty
That was
cool.
my climax. I was like, this is how I win. When I
I was like,
saw that, I was like, we got him. Carl's
Yeah.
dead. Bye bye. Wrap the
Yep.
movie up.
You really didn't like Carlo, dude.
Dude,
Oh,
fuck, dude. That scene gets me, man.
Bro,
I'm like, he's beating a pregnant lady.
it's fucked up.
He's
Dude,
beating his
fuck him.
pregnant wife.
Yeah.
That was
And it,
I knew the movie was real shit when
While
Sonny
he's
died.
like
After
going
that,
out with his like whore. I was like,
Yeah.
jeez.
like the movie was serious because it's like it wouldn't give me the satisfaction of having Carlo die then, like halfway through the movie with Sonny killing
You
him.
had to wait to the end.
Yeah, the movie did that like on purpose. It's like here's like this long running, playing the long game of you're gonna get the satisfaction at the end of the movie, but right now in the middle, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna be just gonna sit there.
hmm.
It's gonna be
I
hard for a little bit.
I like how they do the same thing that kind of happens in the middle in the restaurant, where like for a second you think that he's like, oh, he'll just go live off on his own. Here's your plane ticket, and then he sits down in the car and you see Clemenza behind him, and you're like, he's done.
He's
It's
freaking.
over.
When Clemenza sat down behind him, I was like, "Oh, I
Yep.
remember this scene."
We know what
Like,
that means in the
I know.
gang world. Yeah.
I bet audiences clapped and roared when Carlo died. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
woo!
that was something in hindsight, that I think the other bodyguard was like kind of talking about, which is like because he had a certain like the one that had betrayed him. Where they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go take a leak," but when not Clemenza, but the other the guy who actually ended up putting 3 to the back of the head of the other bodyguard,
Oh, that was Roscoe. That was the only time in the movie we ever saw him.
Roscoe.
The dude
You
who
know,
killed Polly
yeah,
was named
his name
Roscoe, and that was the only time in the movie we ever saw him was when he killed Polly.
the. But yeah, no, like
That was a
freaking
cool
Paul
scene.
when Roscoe got in the car, Polly was just like, "Oh, scoot over. You're blocking my rear view." And I was just like, "Okay, okay." Because like throwback, he was behind him before
Yeah,
because he
and
was
he
planning to
knows what
shoot
that
him
means.
anyways, and he knew what that means. So he's like, "Scoot over," and so he scooted over like in compliance.
Yeah.
I mean, he still died, but I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Anyway.
Guess the last
good
thing
movie.
someone's great grandchild is somewhere in New York, betting pawning up stuff, betting
Oh my god.
75,000 on the Celtics. He owes money to maybe the Corleones. Who knows? Maybe that's
It
a
must be
Godfather.
it has to be the Corleones. I don't know who it is. Who
Yeah,
else
like,
that
would it be?
happened
they said-
like 40 years later.
Yeah,
No,
like
not
that
even. That was more. That was 50.
It was
franchise.
2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
Like
2011.
December.
Now that I think about it,
Yeah, the
I thought it
great
was the 80s at first, but yeah.
the great grandchildren. Howard Ratner owes them money. But bang, got another one. And my
So at some point, the family like went from being Italian to being Jewish.
no, Howard Ratner just owes them money. They
He
didn't
owes the mafia.
Oh, he owes them money.
No, yeah, no, he's not related. He just
I was like, what?
Dude, Luca Brazzi III kicks in Howard Ratner's door.
where's
Like,
the
oh,
man.
crap.
good stuff, guys? Good
That'd be
stuff.
great. So yeah,
Well,
are we done?
I think so. I
Well,
think so. This
okay.
was a
So
good
we
one.
doing? Wait, no, because next week is Jose's.
No, it's not.
It's
Isn't
not.
it the week after?
Yeah.
His
His
birthday.
is the week after. So
Yeah.
in that case, are we rolling or
Should
did we
we
already
roll?
roll?
Actually,
I want to
may I
roll.
make a suggestion?
No.
Actually, okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Since we all want to watch it, maybe not even next week, but we like plan a week or like a time on where like we do
We
the
watched
second
the
Godfather.
second.
But we don't have to do that. It was just an idea. I don't want to, be the guy who gets,
Yeah.
does that. But it's
Reminds me, guys. Do we have to do a Halloween special?
we do.
Hell
I
yeah.
think Halloween should just
yeah.
be Halloween horror movies or just
Oh,
horror
yeah.
movies
Yeah.
or
yeah.
Halloween themed. One or
You
the
guys
other.
are gonna be like, "Let's watch Hereditary," and I'm be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna skip
Oh
out
my-
on this one."
Yeah, dude,
too."
and yours is like Halloween Town.
Oh my gosh.
What we do in the
The
shadows.
kitty stuff. The kitty. Brian wants the kitty stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do we want to watch Godfather Part 2 or do we want to randomize?
I don't want to watch Godfather Part 2 so soon.
I
I'm down-
agree.
Yeah,
I don't think we should watch it so soon. I
I
think it's
think
too
give it a
soon.
couple months at least. I think
I'm-
we need to do. We've
yeah.
done like 2 like randomized rolls. This is like supposed to be a whole part.
We've never
a whole-
randomized. We have not randomized on camera in actually ever. But also, we haven't randomized in
We
like
did
a
it
while.
one time.
Yeah, I thought we did it
think.
once.
We
Did
did it
we?
with the Moonrise Kingdom, I think.
Did we?
Oh, actually, I think we also did it for 8th grade.
We did, but then we delayed that 2 weeks,
Exactly.
We delayed
so I
that because we did something else. Yeah.
yeah.
and then we didn't do anything the week
Because
after.
we did my
because-
birthday, I think.
So
Yeah,
how about
we did.
so
We watched Nacho Libre.
so Brian, what are your days off? Are you off every Thursday or is this just
This is first off, today's Wednesday.
just kidding? No, well
And
now it's Thursday. but
generally
you're
I'm
right.
off Wednesday. Oh, it is.
So
it
how
is
about we
Thursday
plan
now,
for
but,
next Wednesday for this movie, and then if not, then we do the
that
week.
might be a bad idea. So I know definitely. So I am working
We can do
today
this off camera actually.
and
Yeah, let's do
tomorrow.
Yes.
Camera, let's
Look,
random
okay,
Sorry about that,
that we
everybody.
don't gotta talk about right
Okay,
now.
okay.
Let me fucking roll
I have-
for this movie. I just gotta find it.
No, I don't.
I
think
by the
it's-
way, I move in a week from
Alright.
Sunday.
I think it's
I
230,
want
290
the
something
wheel.
nine.
Okay, also remember that we have to vote on it.
Yeah.
Three of us have
Yeah.
to say yes.
Dude,
Dog, time to.
Michael
I
added a
love
movie
democracy.
like just
Here
now.
goes the Meg.
I
Did you?
wait just now, because I just now copied this list.
Oh, never mind. Before
Was,
never mind. You're good. You're good. You're good.
We should do
At
it
the start of the podcast.
live.
Okay, ready?
Here goes
Wait,
the Meg.
wait. Hold on.
You're
Share
not
screen.
ready?
Can we share screen?
What? Look, check my stream, bro.
Here goes
Oh wait, dang it, he is
Wait.
streaming.
I'm streaming.
wait,
Check my Twitch.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
fair point.
wait.
Okay, so you are streaming it then.
I
Second.
ready.
always stream these
Okay.
podcasts. How do you
Michael,
think
just
I
do
do
it.
Go Meg. Come on,
I'm
Meg.
watching. I'm
Okay,
watching already.
3,
Good.
2, 1.
Oh my god. Oh
We
my
got
god.
Monty
I'm gonna.
Python, the Holy Grail. We
Wait,
finally
dude,
got a
seriously, that's on
comedy.
Netflix. Dude, that's on Netflix. Let's go. I watched
Yes.
the first half recently. Haven't seen the second half.
I
Oh,
say
really?
I haven't
yes.
seen it in years. No, I've
Michael,
seen
say
the second
yes.
half. I haven't seen it in years.
I say yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I also say yes.
Mhm.
I say no. I say yes.
I say, frick, Nathaniel. I was really hoping you go with the no.
Dude, that's
Yeah, I knew you guys were gonna say yes. I was gonna say no, but I was. Just gonna
Jose,
say
I
why.
say no too. Let's go.
Yeah, we can just be no's, but whatever.
Jose,
So
can I ask you why you don't want to?
I do not find that movie funny
Really?
at all. It's not close to my type of humor.
Wow.
But
I say no because Nathaniel chose yes.
Oh,
Brian's just contrarian.
I gotta
You're
be
just,
the.
you're just
Dude,
an
listen.
asshole.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Anyway,
Yeah, dude.
Monty
Anyway.
Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it looks like
I'm
we will be
actually
watching.
hyped to watch it, but I
I
still say
believe in democracy.
I think we
Next
should
Wednesday.
instead watch the Meg.
Yeah.
Shut
Meg.
up.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it
Yeah.
appears that the next time we have an episode, which hopefully will be next week, but we'll see. We will be watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
And if not, we'll watch it the week
Dab.
after.
If
Jose.
not,
watch
we'll
it
watch it.
sometime.
We'll watch it whenever we fucking get to it. Because right now we don't have a consistent schedule because Brian
Wait a
works so much,
second. Yeah.
and Nathaniel's
worry,
always like
let-
writing or something. So
And I'm
Oh.
proud.
What I was just referencing
Get
is
around.
I'm not saying it's a bad
so
thing.
I don't
I'm
move
just
in
saying.
this Sunday, so I move in about 9 or 10 days from now, I believe.
I have
16?
not stopped the stream yet, so we should talk about this when I end.
That's
it.
true. All
Well,
right.
I mean, they don't
Thank
know
you,
where it goes.
everyone, for
Okay.
Playing
watching.
long game.
Thank you
Okay,
if you
doke.
watched or listened or whatever.
Yeah, we should be on a more consistent schedule after the 16th.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Work on it.
Ball.
We will be
Yep.
soon. So yeah, goodbye everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye now.
Everybody.
Adios.
Bye.
Arrivederci.
Bye.